Hello again everybody, and welcome back to Skyblock News. Today we have developer blog number 12 speaking about the latest version of Minecraft and also giving a bunch of foraging information. My name is Derailious, and let's get right into this. Starting off here with the foreword, we state, "Good morning, my fellow people, my name is Don Pierso, and today I am writing this dev blog about the struggles Hypixel faces in the grandiose process of updating the Hypixel server for Minecraft to the most recent versions of Minecraft. Ironically, I am not a dev, I am the team's lead, and I point at things to make them happen, but others make them happen. Then I write them a big paycheck. It's a good time for all of us. A lot of the information you're about to read, as expected from my role, will have been written by others within the team. My goal with this dev blog is to gather all of the information I can get from my people about the current big meme, where is foraging? For those who don't play Hypixel Skyblock, that question probably makes little sense. 3 years ago, they introduced the foraging update to players. New island tied to the foraging skill, later in 2021. The goal, right from the start, has always been to give players a solid update for foraging that equals the mining update found within the Dwarven Mines and the Crystal Hollows. Obviously, mining and foraging are very different playstyles other than the mindless aspect of it, and the vibes and locales surrounding it are meant to be completely different. We can't just put players in a tree cave. Very quickly, we realized that the latest versions of Minecraft have all sorts of new assets and mechanics that could tremendously improve the foraging island, custom biomes, new textures and blocks, and all sorts of props for vegetation. The foraging map could look absolutely amazing, and as you can see, it definitely does. On top of that, we started thinking about the future of Minecraft, essentially how we as a server, the leading server no less, have been stuck in the past for so long. To be fair, we've done a lot with what we have. Maps like the Dwarven Caves and the Crimson Isles are absolutely fantastic, all thanks to our incredible build team. But the itch started. What if we wanted latest version maps? What if we had the latest version of gameplay items and creatures? What if we had an elytra? What if we had polar bears? What if we made custom resource packs, unique menus, unique models, and unique bosses? Our imagination knew no bounds. Since then, we've been working on a number of projects that boast the latest version features, although not all of them will make it to the public. But how has it been years since we started, and we barely have anything to show for it? That would be today's topic, my friends. Next up, we have a section that crosses out Spigot and writes Hygot. Years ago, when the server was still a wee little lad running around in the summer grass, the team of Eld made decisions that ultimately impacted the future of the server. Plank was here back then, and he had this to say. At Hypixel, Spigot has long been our go-to framework, evolving from a basic fork into something uniquely ours. Initially, it started as a simple modification, with a few tweaks here and there to expose internal mechanisms that lacked APIs. Over time, those small patches snowballed into a mess of custom code. The rest of our codebase became a tangle of reflection. We wanted to declutter, streamline, and above all, optimize it for our use case. With every added feature and every line of code, we drifted further from Spigot's core. Eventually, we reached a point where the only logical step was to hard fork, and so on September 4th, 2014, Hygot was born, based on the 1.7.10 protocol hack release that had become the foundation of our server jar. As newer Minecraft versions came out, Hygot began to reflect our evolving needs. We implemented 1.8 features like armor stands, world borders, and titles as needed. When the snapshots for 1.9 began coming out in the summer of 2015 and early 2016, we jumped on them. The vanilla launcher's habit of automatically selecting the latest version meant that players, particularly newcomers, expected day one access. Staying ahead was crucial. Since then, we've maintained our support for newer versions, although our player base primarily sticks to 1.8.9. Newer features like particles, entities, blocks, and shields often went unused since older clients didn't support them. We faced decisions like displaying alternatives or omitting features entirely. Sneaking, for example, changed the player height, allowing 1.14 users to access areas otherwise inaccessible to them. Despite the lack of widespread use, we still integrated quality of life improvements for newer versions, glow effects, colored boss bars, colored beds, scoreboard numbers, and server links for higher versions. As the years went by, we were comfortable. Hygot was doing its job, and it was extremely well optimized for what it did. But what it didn't do was everything else. We never really updated Hygot for the latest version's features. We kept the work low and optimized our resources. We allowed players on latest versions to join the server, but we didn't teach Hygot about all the cool new things Minecraft released. In the background, Spigot continued to grow. If today we took Spigot and just applied it to Hypixel, it just wouldn't work. It would require rewriting the entirety of our games. After assessing the work, it became clear that updating Hygot would be the best way to go. The work required for this, however, is massive. Sadly, all of this work can't be just copy-pasted from the current spigot itself. A lot of experimentation and testing has to come in before we can write the right code and push it live. As we've been running the server on our own code for this long, it has to keep working. In secret, in the background that no players can see, we have essentially been re-releasing the entirety of our server infrastructure bit by bit. I'd like to thank the MGRF, Nitroholic, and Connor Linfoot, who have been hard at work on this stuff, for their help in writing this section. These are the things that we've rolled on the network so far. These are over 30,000 lines of code spread over 800 commits in over 500 files, and this includes things like armor trims, a lot of refactoring, scoreboard formatting, attributes, potion effects, paintings, and custom model data, which is really cool. Also server support for different versions, which is great, properly implemented no-clip spectator mode, just excellent stuff altogether. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that has yet to been rolled to the live server. Things like particles, more new paintings, offhand support, which will be crazy, improvements to the lighting engine, basically getting that up to modern day standards, boat mechanics, custom biomes, custom models and animations, which is crazy, swimming, crawling, and elytra for the new movement mechanics, pretty much everything in terms of the modern game stuff, including new blocks and new entities. Oh boy, the things we can do. There are a few popular latest version servers out there that can already prove what we can do when we update Hypixel to latest. These range from custom menus, custom mobs, biomes, items, and functionality. There's just so much. At this current stage, a lot of the development on Hypixel for games has been waiting for these changes to be completed. Foraging would just be the one that you guys are most familiar with. But how about we take a look at some of the other ones? I won't go into a lot of detail about some of those, you guys get to speculate and lose yourselves over it, but yeah. This stuff is really crazy. I just want to take a quick second to state this. This is kind of what I expected was going on, that they were just reformatting code and trying to make sure everything worked in the latest version, and it's very clear that they have been doing a lot. This is why we've seen so many patches that are just taking down the server for a few hours for back-end changes. It's because of stuff like this, Hypixel Latest, which seems to be their new engine for the server. I know using the terminology of engine isn't really correct, but you fundamentally understand my point. Before I satiate your desire for spoilers, leaks, and reveals, I have to mention an important detail. We are not rewriting the entirety of Hypixel Skyblock as many have speculated here and there. None of this means rewriting Skyblock. Hygot is Hypixel's server software, not the games themselves. None of the games are getting any rewriting, as that would be a ludicrous amount of work and would only be a risk of running into mistakes again, like dupes. The improvements come as additions. We get to add new features to Skyblock, and maybe edit some older ones that could use an upgrade. Think menus with resource packs. Functionality of said menus aren't being changed or rewritten, so that's not a dupe or wipe risk. Things are just moved around and made to look better, function better, and read better. It's just better. We plan to release the first of 3 Foraging Islands, as it is now complete, but we have to wait until we are ready to release latest version content. In the meantime, we are making excellent progress on hunting. We've made some changes to the hunting system since our last update. Instead of having players select their attributes in a menu, all attributes will now be inherent, meaning they will work simultaneously. This basically means you'll be able to use all of your attributes at once, theoretically. We realize that with so many choices already in Skyblock, constantly swapping attributes could become cumbersome. Now players will focus on gathering as many shards as possible through hunting or fusions to max them out. Do note that this will be subject to change as we test things out, including on Alpha. The hunting update has also allowed us to make the map more lively, adding creatures like frogs, axolotls, various underwater entities to Galatea, and so much more. We are working diligently to complete hunting before releasing it in the latest versions. We understand that some players are concerned about the transition to the new system and the potential impact to those who have invested significant time obtaining rare god rolls. Our goal is to make this update a win for everyone, so we are putting extra effort into ensuring a fair and rewarding transition for all players. In the meantime, here are some cute little critters. We got fish, we got turtle, and we got frog. Very cool. I like the shell-wise, by the way. And also, you may notice this guy only has 1,000 health. This makes me think that some of the areas on this island are going to be very low level, which I completely agree with. I think that is excellent. Unless this is just related to mystic damage, in which case I'm totally wrong. One less secretive thing we're working on that we are very excited for you guys to play with at some point in the future are menus. This is something that has regularly been seen in the most modern latest version servers. Incredibly good looking menus, with for each of them sporting a unique look that reflects the server you're playing on. Starting with Skyblock, but eventually the entire network, or at least a big chunk of it, will be releasing cool menus for latest version players to play with. Here's a little teaser on 2 of these menus, showcasing how much more we can show with a texture pack. And this looks absolutely incredible. The pets area just looks great, same thing with the world map. This just looks really, really good. They also have a something else here. This is not in Skyblock, by the way. It says that's not even in Skyblock. What? This is probably either a pet in another part of the server as like a main hub sort of thing, or it's just something in a minigame, but it looks absolutely incredible. Custom models are amazing. What about other minigames? We don't have much to disclose on this because we aren't sure which direction we're going to go with this just yet. However, I could say that we are very much looking into potentially releasing sequels to some of our more iconic and popular minigames with strong latest version features. This would take us quite a good bit of experimentation until we decide what we want to do with those, or even what we can do. After all, it would just have to be better. Closing thoughts. This concludes the dev blog, mostly written by not a dev. We hope this bit of information helps with the long wait, for we are just as excited and impatient about these things as you guys are. These things take time to develop, and not all of our developers have the technical expertise to do so. Rest assured that those who do are dedicating their full time to ensuring we reach our new destination. Bravo! This is an excellent update. I feel like we've gotten pretty much all the information we could want as Skyblock players, but even if you're watching this video and you're just someone who's interested in Hypixel, I think this just gives you a ton of information. Sequels, potentially, to a lot of the more iconic games, things like Bed Wars and Sky Wars. A lot of updates to Skyblock. The first island of the 3 on the Foraging Islands are done, so Galatea Part 1 is done. Hunting is being worked on. There are a bunch of improvements with it. There's no more swapping attributes. There's just going to be all of them active at once. I wonder how the balancing on that's going to go. It's going to be really interesting, but I imagine they're going to do a good job. New mobs, new creatures, new custom models, new texture packs, just absolutely amazing stuff. I'm incredibly impressed with this, and I think I'm going to make a follow-up video, maybe tomorrow, just analyzing this in more detail and kind of just going through it and seeing like what specifically I can think of in terms of what they can do now. But this is pretty much everything I wanted to see. Foraging update, probably coming somewhat soon, maybe, perhaps, possibly. And there's a lot of stuff ahead for the network, and I'm really excited to see it. At the end of the day, though, my name's Derailious. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and look to the future, fellas. I'll see you then.